Let's bring in Kelly Sloan, who is a senior fellow in energy and environment at the Centennial Institute, and he joins us now live from Denver in Colorado. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program today. Now, there's a lot I'd like to talk to you about, so let's start with Russia's threat to cut off gas supplies to Poland and Bulgaria. A few weeks back, when Putin said unfriendly countries would have to pay in rubles, it essentially meant that these countries would have to open dollar or euro accounts in Russian banks. What has changed? And is Russia serious about tearing up gas contracts with Poland and Bulgaria?
I think they are because they're fairly desperate to have these contracts paid in rubles just to hold kind of stock up their economy, which has been battered by these sanctions. Uh, so I think it is a serious threat. The question is, how is it going to be received by the countries that they cut the gas supplies off? Uh, Poland, I don't think, is going to be impacted all that much. Right now, they get about 46% of their gas from Russia, but they're already on track to have replaced that by the end of the year. And the Polish foreign ministry has already said that there's not going to be they're not going to have to cut off gas supplies to their citizens. They're going to be able to make up that supply. Bulgaria is in a little bit different situation. They don't have the infrastructure in place right now to be able to replace all that. So they're going to be a little more vulnerable. There are options, though. There's options from the south. There's options, obviously, from to be supplied by U.S. gas, and both the Bulgarians and other European countries, including Poland, are going to have to explore that pretty quickly and get some things in place.
And we're seeing the Russian central bank working hard by supporting the ruble by dipping into its own foreign currency reserves. Could this push for payments in rubles indicate a serious foreign currency reserve problem for Russia?
Oh, I think it does. As I said at the beginning, their economy is being battered. The ruble is being battered by these sanctions. Not as badly as probably they could be. I mean, I myself and others have argued for much stronger sanctions against Russia, much earlier sanctions against Russia. Nevertheless, the ones that have been put in place, especially the oil and gas embargoes from countries friendly to the Western position, have had a pretty deleterious effect on the ruble and the Russian economy. So yes, I think this is a sign of desperation on the part of the Russians to try and kind of hold up their economy in the face of this onslaught.
Let's talk a bit about Washington's strategic shift. It's gone from wanting to arm Ukraine to defend itself to now wanting to grind Russian forces into the ground and ensuring Russia can never attack a smaller country ever again. What is Washington seeing that's giving it the confidence to take on a nuclear-armed superpower like Russia in this manner?
Well, I think clearly what they're seeing is Russian weakness in Ukraine. At the beginning of this, everybody expected Russia to pretty much win the war within a week. The fact that Russia did not gain air superiority within the first couple of days of the conflict, uh, that was phenomenal. Now, whether that was because of some kind of systemic weakness within the Russian armed forces or surprising strength on the part of the Ukrainian armed forces and the Ukrainian resistance, or a combination of both, uh, I tend towards the latter. Uh, what Washington is seeing is that, hey, maybe we can be on the winning side of this. Maybe this isn't simply a defensive a battle anymore. I think initially they were looking at it that perhaps we can just do something to keep the Ukrainians alive as long as possible.
Hmm.
What they're seeing now is some serious signs of weakness uh, uh, in in the Russian military, and I think they're finally starting to take advantage of this. Again, I think they're doing a little bit too little, too late.
Right.
If they had done this before the invasion, I think it may have had more of a deterrent value, and we wouldn't be in the position we're in. But I am thankful that at least the administration is taking a little bit stronger stance and trying taking a little bit more realistic
Hmm.
approach to how the West should be approaching this.
All right, Kelly Sloan, thank you so much for joining us here on Tier 2 World and sharing that insight with us.